It's Kelvin Smith here, and welcome to Creation Basics, where our goal is to make God's creation part of your everyday conversation. Now, today's topic is a brief history of the story or the idea of ape men, and this is going to be part 1 of 3. You know, from its inception, the scientific proofs offered in support of the story of human evolution have been riddled with holes, and modern research has shown that many others were driven by scientific ignorance and evolutionary interpretations rather than solid evidence. Take Neanderthals, for example. In 1856, workmen digging in a cave near the Neander Valley, which is near Dusseldorf in Germany, discovered a fossilized skull cap, 2 femurs, and some other bone fragments. Now, examined by one Professor Schaffhausen, a professional anatomist, he concluded that they were fully human. However, 4 years later, after Darwin's On the Origin of Species was published, the search for fossils of imagined ape-like ancestors of man increased with a lot of vigor amongst naturalists. And lo and behold, an Irish geologist by the name of William King decided to re-examine the fossil skull of Neanderthal man to see what he thought. His conclusion? Well, like other Darwinians of the day, he argued against the professional opinion of an expert anatomist that Neanderthal man was an ape-like creature. And so positive was his geologist's interpretive power that he actually declared this, quote, "The thoughts and desires which once dwelt within it never soared beyond those of the brute." You know, such clairvoyant ability as to perceive the fossilized thoughts emanating from a collection of bones demonstrates the obvious evolutionary bias on display. And this wild speculation wasn't simply against the opinion of one lone expert from across the aisle of the human origin ideology. It flew in the face of the likes of no other than the great anatomist Rudolf Virchow, who was one of the most prominent physicians of the 19th century, who also argued Neanderthal were fully human in every respect, with any abnormalities being the result of their suffering from rickets or arthritis. Despite this, depictions of Neanderthals as stooped-over ape men began to proliferate evolutionary literature, and such representations were mimicked and mirrored back among the common folk through the circuses and carnival ape men and missing link freak shows of the 1800s and early 1900s. All of these were examples of the reinforcement of the evolutionary mindset taking hold among all sectors of society that continued into our modern era. They basically became evolutionary memes over time, even though the evidence goes against this narrative. For example, in 1929, life-size statues of bestial Neanderthals greeted visitors viewing Chicago's Field Museum of Natural History, and were only replaced relatively recently. After an overwhelming amount of evidence collected over the years has shown Neanderthals were simply powerfully built people, well within the range of modern human anatomy, they've been replaced with more modern depictions, which today simply look like normal humans. A current Chicago Field Museum article states this, quote, "The first of 2 Neanderthal family dioramas was installed in 1929. In the early 1970s, the Neanderthal figures were replaced with new ones. By 1994, the Hall of the Old Stone Age of the Old World exhibit had been dismantled because most were considered to be scientifically inaccurate. The hall had included the Neanderthal family." Which means, despite their still being used as examples of our supposed primitive ancestors in popular movies and catchy commercials such as the "simple enough for a caveman can do it" ones, this idea that Neanderthals were subhuman was always a false imposition upon the facts, rather than derived directly from them. And perhaps the definitive confirmation that the original anatomist of the day had rightly concluded Neanderthals were just people comes from no less than Dr. Erich Trinkhaus, a paleoanthropologist who specializes in Neanderthals, early modern human biology, and human evolution. He's considered one of the world's foremost authorities on Neanderthal man and has concluded this: "Detailed comparisons of Neanderthal skeletal remains with those of modern humans have shown that there is nothing in Neanderthal anatomy that conclusively indicates locomotor, manipulative, intellectual, or linguistic abilities inferior to those of modern humans." So, Neanderthals have been used for approximately 175 years to lace the minds of millions with evolutionary thoughts of proto-human derivatives, only to have them come full circle back into the realm of full humanity. Now, what about other evolutionary examples that have been offered? Well, tune in for part 2 of A Brief History of Ape Men, Piltdown Man, and more. If you're appreciating this content, visit the AnswersInGenesis.ca website for much more. Please consider donating to the ministry, and whatever platform you're accessing this on, it likely has some combination of features that allow you to subscribe or like or share, and we'd appreciate you taking the time to do so, because it's probably the best thing you can do to help us continue to do outreach. Until next time, I'm Cal Smith. Blessings to you.